So I'm looking at the law. This is a mess.
This is a
This
mess.
is a mess.
This is a mess.
No, they did
As
not
a
charge
normative matter, in South Carolina, it's inclusive.
As a normative
But in
matter,
this
of
case,
course. But of course.
I'll think out loud.
But of
Everybody else
course.
think out loud. I'll think out loud. Well, I'm getting thumbs down. You don't know anything about it either.
because, well, y'all are saying things that have not been reported.
I'm not talking about the reporting.
Okay,
One second.
so,
I'm not about the reporting. I'm talking about the law. I'm not talking about the reporting.
I'm talking about the law.
Huh?
I'm talking about the law.
So then what are you talking about? What's been reported? I'm reading the statute.
Because somebody
One
asked
second.
me if the process.
I'm not. What reporting was I talking about? One second. What reporting was I talking about?
I was talking about when I was having a conversation with one of the moms, and she was like, "Has the prosecution offered that as a lesser charge?" I don't know. That hasn't been reported. I'm not gonna say yes, but I'm saying that they most definitely could have offered involuntary manslaughter as a lesser charge. Like that is definitely available because this is a homicide case, and a
It
homicide
wasn't
charge.
available, and I'll tell you why.
It is.
Right
How
here.
are you gonna? Okay.
Tell you why.
Why not?
Because they agreed to make it not available.
What's that even mean?
The prosecution and the defense agreed to not make it available.
So they.
In pre-trial. Never mind, Doc. I'm just trying to read. I'm reading from the New York Times. I'm trying to give the room and me and you information to have an informed conversation. But you just want to. I'll just shut the fuck up. You just explain to us what it is.
Yeah, so my comments were coming from if I were on the jury, what would I be asking while we were deliberating? That's and some people are coming from a legal perspective, some people are coming from different perspectives. And so being that I don't know the details of the case based on what I'm hearing, I would go in the jury and have to deliberate on this. Those are the things that I would ask. I will probably send a note to the lawyers or whoever for certain questions. I don't understand conceptually how a person running away at 100 yards is a threat.
All right. Well, you could be running away, Rambo, and point at somebody else, and then somebody else can shoot you from down. You can be a threat to other people. Again, in the facts of the case, the man's son, Andy Child, said he was threatened. All right?
The name
Right. So
is Kung Lao,
what I'm saying,
descendant of the great Kung Lao, the grand champion of the Order of Light.
is that under South Carolina, voluntary manslaughter is voluntary. It requires proof of such an attack, followed by recognized legal provocation of the victim. Because the state's position was that combat justice did not perform the child. I think it's hard to
In Mortal Kombat,
You're not a criminal
talent
attorney.
will only get you so far.
Everybody gets this. People go to
But,
attorneys in this. We'll bring up bread.
Good start.
Can't see her.
You know, maybe your Arcana's getting your
We'll bring up all the
by a
attorneys.
hat.
We'll come up and tell you they don't do criminal law. We'll listen to them. They don't even know that.
Congrats to all.
Oh, I do criminal law, so I mean, you just gotta let someone else do it.
You gotta get out of there. They're gonna kill you.
Which ones?
All of them.
So what did include in the judge's instructions?
Under South Carolina involuntarily on the spot.
It's set up. You gotta get out of there. They're gonna kill you.
You say you can't
And I
remember
mean
your
with all
childhood.
due respect.
Let me tell you something important.
If the goal is to put somebody away,
Skies are blue,
feel good, I don't think that's a real good
clouds of white,
I don't.
brightness
And
in
so
the
I think if they had gone for that,
dark sacred nights.
people would have been equally upset. Oh, he only got 3 years. He chased them. He didn't see the gun. All the things that we talked about beforehand, I can understand the reason. So I take your point. Let's say they could have included it. Well, from what I'm reading online, it looks like that they agreed, the prosecution and defense, to only do the murder. I don't know how that works in South Carolina. I'm sure y'all are barred in other states, but experts on South Carolina law, so I'll mute up as a second. But I'm just reading what I'm reading from the news in South Carolina and from the statute. And it looks like it has a max of 5 years.
I'm not.
So if that's what people think justice are, that's fine.
I'm not sure that the jury like they have to weigh what charges are on the table. If you put murder, if you put murder,
Give Pearlie a second, because she was waiting for Ben.
okay,
Jump right in.
okay, go ahead.
So,
Go ahead, Pearlie.
this is devastating, honestly. It's not surprising, but it's devastating. If they don't explicitly say that the lesser included charges are included in whatever the allegations are, whatever the jury instructions are, it's very explicit about exactly what they're asking and exactly what they are able to, like on the verdict form. It includes very specific questions and all of the options that the jurors have for how they want to find someone, if they want to hold them accountable, etc. This is bad, but I think this also just goes to the idea that, blackness is a threat, regardless of if they're running away or not.
Hold on 1 second before we get to that. So, do you adopt?
I can't speak for everyone else. This was an intentional killing.
Involuntary manslaughter. Because if you were to include involuntary manslaughter while arguing for a murder charge, you're quite literally undercutting, just logically, both instances.
Okay, I don't know if that's a hit at me. I said.
No, I'm asking anybody. Can we get off of the personal thing? I'm asking a question. If we can only talk to each other, Adab, where you think I'm insulting you, then I just won't ask you any questions. I'm literally asking, how can you argue for a murder trial and then also say it's involuntary?
Because.
I mean, not a murder trial, an act of murder, while arguing that it's involuntary. That's just a serious.
Okay.
So it's because of the elements of involuntary manslaughter. So if you were arguing that there was like criminal negligence or recklessness and it was in the commission of an unlawful act, but it's not premeditated, or in this case, he didn't say there was an intent to kill or cause serious bodily harm. Which I think is stupid, because if you shoot someone, you intend to cause serious bodily harm. But that is the rationale that could be employed to justify saying, okay, well, they did involuntary manslaughter. So,
I'm sorry, say that again. I don't know what my head again.
Okay, so to secure a conviction of involuntary manslaughter, you can have criminal negligence, which is like when you do significant and reckless, and it's a way for that a reasonable person would use that creates an unreasonable risk of death or great bodily harm. Generally, this is like when someone's drunk driving. I can't think of a time when someone points a gun and shoots at someone and they say it's just criminal negligence, but
No long drives, expensive hotels, and
I want to
complicated
stop right
travel.
there. I want you to stop.
Again, any girl that wants.
Let's stop right there.
Message from
This is very interesting.
the mayor of
Let me speak
Chicago.
to you if I include a Dodge. Take it personally. And after we see this person about to be swept, I can understand.
Any girl that wants a
Stop
free
right
ticket.
That's laughable.
Stop. I want to stop. Did you see the game last night? You think the Spurs?
Back to sports.
Let's stop right there.
Cyrus is dead. Let's get back to the NBA.
Hurricane. Just asking if you
Claim.
If you can, I have another question.
I don't think.
1 second. Can you think of a time?
Okay.
Can you think of a case when you shoot somebody in the back and it didn't, charging you with involuntary manslaughter, shooting somebody with a gun?
I think there was one time when it was a police officer and they said they intended to use their taser instead, but I don't think it worked. But I think that was, I don't know why, but that does come to mind.
Okay, so a cop, when he could use a taser. Doc, can you think of any? This is like a non-police shooting.
I mean,
Just
there's
the
like
use of a gun.
where someone's like
You
out
got him photographed.
shooting or hunting and then they accidentally shoot someone. They could argue negligent
Not hunting. That
homicide.
would not hunting.
You said not a. You said okay,
But
not
I mean, when
But,
you were
I'm not even
chasing a
arguing that,
person,
though.
like in the circumstance applied. Not I was cleaning my gun. I mean, come on, you know.
I mean, that would be. I mean, plenty of people have been convicted for that reason. So,
He
but
wasn't
I'm
cleaning
not
his
even
gun or
arguing
hunting. I'm
that.
saying with similar circumstances.
Okay, no, because I'm not even arguing that he should have been charged with involuntary. I think he should have been convicted of murder. But
I got it. But hold on,
Okay.
just stay right there because we're trying to learn. Just y'all move too fast for us. Y'all are the experts. So you're saying that I'm not so I'm trying to, so you guys are saying that somebody said Oscar Grant. Wasn't he shot by the police?
Yes.
Okay, so why
No, that's the one
Oscar
where
Grant?
his defense was that he thought it was a taser.
Yes.
I just mentioned that.
Oh, okay, cool. I thought you were giving another example. Okay, cool. So
Fuck!
people, so the criticism that Arthur was offering and Adab was giving expert fodder to was the prosecution should have included voluntary or involuntary manslaughter.
I think as far as I know, I posted it. A lot of times prosecution will put lesser charges just so that the jury. Yes.
This is between them. Let them have.
I'm asking them if that's what they're saying.
I'm sorry.
So you guys are saying that voluntary or involuntary or both, which one should have been included?
involuntary would have been because voluntary is a very specific type of situation. Like it's very rare that people bring that type of charge.
Which one? Voluntary?
Voluntary, which is the heat of passion murder. That's
Right.
like walking in on like your spouse cheating and you killed in
Right.
the heat of passion.
Wait, I thought that was second degree.
Well, in South Carolina they do. I'm looking at the statute. It's SC code 16360. It was updated in 2015. It just says involuntary. I don't see the degrees on the statute. But all right, y'all keep going.
But involuntary, since the jury was struggling, I don't know where people are reading this, but the jury was struggling with the malice element. If that was the case, if they really had a problem with that, then involuntary manslaughter would be the next charge. I think that would be something that he could easily be convicted of. But I think he should have been convicted of murder. So.
Wait, before you go to that, let's just stay on the law before we get to our opinion. This is interesting. Y'all just want to editorialize and be pundits. And so it says here, let me read the statute. This is the statute from 2025. With regard to the crime of involuntary manslaughter, criminal negligence is defined as the reckless disregard of the safety of others. A person charged with the crime of involuntary manslaughter may be convicted upon showing a criminal negligence as defined in this section. The person convicted of involuntary manslaughter Why is Eagle Hawk in here?
I
Eagle Hawk.
I don't think any would have worked because he was claiming he was defending his son. That's the issue. He was claiming basically self-defense of another. So he probably would have got.
I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm still trying to find out outside of we want to get something out of it. Outside of that, take that to the side. I don't see how voluntary or involuntary manslaughter applies here.
I don't think it does either.
Well, yeah, because he murdered the boy.
No. Outside of that, just outside of that, just based off the facts of the case, chasing somebody down, chasing down like Adrian Peterson when he broke away from the Green Bay Packers Week 3, 2012. He ran 100 and some yards, kept going Bo Jackson style. Shot him in the back. Somebody who had shot multiple people before. I don't see how voluntary, involuntary manslaughter applies here. Outside of, we need to get any charge. I really don't.
There's a couple of things that come to mind.
One second, and that attorney speak and or author. Or go ahead, you can go Katrina, just give 1 second before you change the case if that's respectful.
Wait, who's
Because
the author?
this is gonna. What? Wait, what? I couldn't hear you. I was speaking. What you saying?
Who's an author?
Or Arthur. I don't know. He's in Harlem. He's a New York author. I don't know his last name, but he goes up Arthur. Yeah. He's the person that introduced the topic. Arthur.
People would hide too early in the fucking day.
What's happening? So who thinks they should have charged with manslaughter? Like, which one? Because I don't see how any of these apply under South Carolina law.
Your next breakdown
Is
can
that
cost
are you making
thousands.
that argument? Unless you have endurance, I will never date
So we
manslaughter
are increasing
charges don't
supply,
apply the malice.
whether it is energy or services.
No, I'm
So
not
that
asking
is
you.
why
That's what I'm
inflation
asking them, like, to try to
is down
understand
more than
what
0.5% since President
because
Trump came in.
One of the
That's what
things
I'm
we're
trying to
talking
pick you up
about
on, but I
in
wanna
the
make
budget
sure I'm not gonna
committee
make
with
assumptions.
Chairman Arrington is a resolution that would set a goal for Congress to get to a 3% deficit to GDP by within the next decade. This has bipartisan support. We're hoping to see that support grow. You've talked about this. You've set a goal of wanting to be at a deficit percentage of GDP starting with 3 by the end of the administration. I wonder if you could talk about the importance of that goal as well in just a few seconds I have remaining.
Yes, sir. I came out from behind my very comfortable desk and here today because I was concerned about that trajectory. And I do believe it is possible to get back to the historical level, 3% deficit to GDP. And while that is not a balanced budget, if you have nominal growth above that level, you are paying down debt.
Thank you. Ms. Chu.
You're paying down debt and infinite money supply.
Launched his illegal war in Iran, you've repeatedly assured Americans that higher prices would be temporary. In March, you said Americans should expect only 50 days of temporary elevated prices. Secretary Besson, it's been almost 100 days and inflation is at a 3-year high with no indication of going down. In May, you said help is on the way when it comes to skyrocketing gas prices. A month later, Americans are still searching for the relief you promised, more than double at the pump than what they paid before the war started. Later that month, you described rising inflation as a very limited spike. In reality, for the first time in 3 years, inflation is outpacing Americans' wages, and Americans' saving rate has dropped by half since last year. And just yesterday, before the Senate Finance Committee, you again characterized inflation as a short-term blip. Recently, President Trump proudly claimed that he doesn't think about Americans' financial situation when it comes to the war with Iran. So I want to ask you, Secretary Besson, do you agree with President Trump that you also do not care about Americans' financial situations?
Congresswoman, who was the president during World War I?
Can you
No, but
Are you refusing to answer my question?
No, I'm asking, who was the president during World War I?
I don't know, but clearly you are not answering my question.
World War I was. Well, let me
So
tell you.
I'm clearly getting the idea that you do not want to answer. Why do you agree with President Trump that you do not care about Americans' financial situations?
President Trump does care about Americans' financial situation.
Well, he actually said that he doesn't.
No, that is a truncated thing, like everything is. That he is future-proofing, because I can tell you, Americans' financial situations would be devastated if Iran got a nuclear weapon and there was a permanent shutdown of the flow of energy out of the Middle East.
Well, then let me ask you, was your prediction...
And I promise you that
I'm taking my time back.
I will promise you that
prediction...
President Woodrow Wilson, who was president during World War I, that the Germans did not attack us. That he got into that. It was
Well, you're not answering the question, so let me ask this. Was your prediction that Americans would face only 50 days of temporary elevated prices wrong? You said that Americans would face only 50 days of temporary elevated prices. Was that wrong? Since actually, of course, we're at 100 days now.
How much have gasoline prices come down from the peak? 7%. Crude prices are down more than 20, and gasoline prices follow crude prices.
Well, then reclaiming my time.
Those are inconvenient facts.
Reclaiming my time. Gas prices are up by 50% since Trump war started, and up nearly 30% from last year. Diesel and jet fuel prices have risen even faster because refining markets are strained. Utility costs have soared due to higher natural gas and fuel input costs, and that means commutes, home heating and electricity, airline tickets, and delivery fees are all more expensive. And how about grocery prices? They jumped more in April than they did in nearly 4 years since when Biden was president. Beef is up by 15%, tomatoes are up by 40%, bread and milk are up 8% and 5% compared to 3 months ago. And it's those lower income households that are hardest hit by Trumpflation. They're forced to cut back on spending. Excuse me, it's my time, but I know that it is hard for a billionaire like you to imagine how these lower income households would be hit by inflation. In fact, Trump said he couldn't care less about higher car prices for Americans. Do you agree with that statement?
I believe that food.
Hey, you're gonna want to hear this. Credit Karma is dishing the truth on your credit scores and what they mean. Most people don't know VantageScore is the only model created by the 3 major credit bureaus and used by 9 out of the top 10 banks. Credit Karma checks Equifax.
The basket, and the basket is up 2.5%. During the Biden era, it was up 5%.
Well, you paint such a rosy picture.
5% a year.
But I think Americans are not experiencing this rosy picture that you paint. They are asking, are my wages keeping up with costs? Can I afford the things that my family needs? And I'm afraid the answer is no.
I'm afraid you're incorrect, because we had real wage increases every month since President Trump took office, except for the month of April. So I know the facts don't align with your narrative. But please, you're entitled to your opinion.
Your narrative is not lining up with what Americans are experiencing right now.
You're not entitled. You're entitled to your opinion, not your own facts.
I yield back.
Mr. Hearn.
Mr. Secretary, it's good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Great to be
Got
here.
bad news
And
for you.
I can see you're talking a lot about the facts. The facts are, is during the 4 years of Joe Biden, we had a 25% increase in prices. No way did the wages keep up during that time. The highest gas prices we've seen in the last decade were under Joe Biden. But my colleagues have gotten amnesia. So, but almost a year ago, Mr. Trump signed the Working Family Tax Cuts into law, implementing the largest tax increase in American history. And I want to thank you, Mr. Secretary, for your hard work and for your partnership in getting that across the finish line. A huge part of the Working Family Tax Cuts was making permanent many provisions of the 2017 TCJA, including eliminating the lockout effect, encouraging companies to bring intellectual property and profits back to the United States, lower rates for all Americans, the pass-through small business deduction, and immediate expensing provisions, all of which have been proven to drive tremendous growth and job creation. Prior to last year, the lack of permanency in these policies hindered economic growth and job creation. But thanks to the Working Family Tax Cut, businesses now have the funding they need to plan, grow, invest, and create jobs here in America. I now want to shift focus to the expensing of factories, which is a new pro-growth tax policy in the Working Family Tax Cuts. After the passage of TCJA, bonus depreciation allowed businesses to deduct the full cost of equipment and machinery immediately, but the factory building that housed the machinery had to be depreciated over a much longer 39-year schedule. This created a major gap in U.S. tax policy. Manufacturers could quickly recover the cost of machines, but the cost recovery for the enormous capital investments in the physical factories lagged far behind. Last year's tax law extended and accelerated expensing treatment to the structures of new domestic production facilities, allowing manufacturers to quickly recover the cost of the building and in turn make it significantly more attractive for companies to invest in expanding U.S. manufacturing capacity. And in fact, they have. We see that, we hear about it, we read about it. Those are the facts. Following the passage of the working family tax cuts, 52% of manufacturers surveyed said they would intended to use the new provision to immediately expense the cost of the construction or expanding a manufacturing facility over the next 4 years. Mr. Secretary, my first question is, last year I asked you about the importance of this provision, and you said that expensing for factories in a way puts us on a level playing field with countries that heavily subsidize their industries. And as you know, this provision expires at the end of 29. Do you believe this provision should be made permanent or extended to continue incentivizing the expansion of U.S. manufacturing capacity and job creation? And then also, in your response, could you also talk about what this does for your 333 plan and how that's part of the integration of that?
I think we should extend or make it permanent. I was able to go and visit Winnebago in Minnesota, and they told me that because of the expensing, they were on the fence on whether to do a battery project for their RVs in Florida to build a factory. But because of the full expensing of equipment, full expensing of structures, they were doing it. And I think we are seeing that again and again. But Congressman, what is very important here, and I don't think people really understand, we are creating productive capacity here, and productive capacity is what generates future tax revenues. So you get the immediate hit to taxes now, but then you create an accelerated stream of income that is much higher, a multiplier effect after that. I call it the slingshot effect. So for 1 or 2 years, I think we're going to see this burst of factories and manufacturers that were encumbered under the Biden administration, and I think going forward, we're going to see a breakout in corporate income tax receipts.
Mr. Secretary, I think what you're describing, it shows the ignorance of the critics of this policy, because it's very easy to shut down a building or a facility, but much more difficult to rebuild something and re-staff it to move businesses back from abroad. So I applaud you. We're going to build it, and they are going to come. And then one final question. I have significant concerns on third-party financing of litigation in the United States, particularly regarding the tax treatment of these profits derived from it. And currently these financiers are claiming capital gains treatment, and is, and best, highly questionable that unadjudicated claims of earned constitute capital assets. This activity is distorting our judicial system and turning our court system into a casino. And I'd really love for your team at the IRS to work with me and look into how we have this tax treatment of this practice.
There are coming in and gumming up the works and sponsoring these lawsuits in our system.
And paying no taxes.
And paying no taxes. So I look forward to working with you on this.
Thank you very much. I yield back.
Mrs. Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Secretary Bessent, thank you for being here today. I found it a little disturbing, the animosity and lack of decorum of some of the members of this committee. Common courtesy takes us a long, long way. I'm a lifelong small businesswoman, and I want to emphasize the importance of working with business-minded leaders rather than career politicians who may not fully understand the real harm that bad policy inflicts on everyday Americans, especially back home in my state of West Virginia. The Working Families Tax Cuts provided much relief to our families, our farmers, and our small businesses across the country, and it fulfilled President Trump's promise of tax relief and certainty. One of my priorities has been saving the Gig Economy Taxpayer Act, which repealed the Biden administration's harmful 1099-K reporting threshold of $600 restored back to the proven standard of $20,000 and 200 transactions. Can you speak to how much of an effect that this policy had on the tax filings of our hardworking Americans?
Well, I think that just speaks to the Democrats are not the party of Main Street. They're what they're the party of. But bringing this down, I thought that it was one of the most reckless things that had been done. That you were going to create this paperwork for small businesses. Many of them, they have service businesses. And to do this, and the magnitude from 20,000 to 6,000 just shows a complete tin ear. An administration that probably had a record low business people involved with the administration and what they viewed as business It's the American way. We had
following Ms. Sewell's questions, and I now recognize the gentlelady for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, you promised the American people that the big, beautiful bill would lead to big economic boom for the American people. In a statement you made on July 3rd, 2025, after the passage of the so-called One Big Beautiful Bill, you said that the legislation would unleash growth in the American economy. Republicans pledged that it would stimulate economic growth and lead to an additional $2.4 trillion in government revenue. However, the most recent GDP data shows that the economy barely grew in the last quarter of 2025 at a rate of only 0.5% and continues to fall below expectations in the first quarter of 2026. Time and time again, you told the American people not to believe their own eyes or what's in their bank accounts. While families have been hit with higher costs from Trump's illegal tariffs and his costly war on a war of choice in Iran, this administration continues to insist that the economy is thriving. The reality, sir, especially for the folks that I represent in Alabama, is that you forecast a 5.4% growth in GDP for the fourth quarter 2025 and only delivered a 0.5% growth. The reality is that wages have fallen behind rising inflation and that job growth dramatically slowed down since Trump took office. Mr. Secretary, I'm asking you rhetorically the following questions. I ask you, why was your analysis so wrong? And I'm asking you rhetorically, since you've shown yourself not to be able to answer questions on this side. So let me try to answer it. Could it be that the illegal tariff or the cost of the war of choice in Iran were the reasons why your analysis was off? Whatever the reason, I want you to know that the people that I represent in Alabama are hurting under this economy. Prices in Alabama have fallen by 3.6% over last year. Energy prices are up 18%. And
I'm asking you a question, rhetorically. That means don't fucking answer it.
Since President Trump took office. In addition, the Iran war has cost American households over $100 billion. Grocery prices are rising faster than any time in the last 4 years, and gas is over $4 a gallon in Alabama, where last year it was only $3 a gallon. Mr. Secretary, your economy, this economy under this administration is failing the American people, and we can and must do better. My second question, or my second topic I'd like to discuss is what's going on. Sir, I haven't asked you one single question. Mr. Chairman, I asked to reclaim my time. I'm not asking him a question. I'm stating facts.
You're not stating facts, you're stating opinions.
Mr. Secretary, Black and brown Americans feel like they are under attack by this administration. President Trump has ordered state legislators across the country to redraw maps to dilute Black political representation. Moreover, Trump has weaponized the DOJ to go after groups like the Southern Poverty Law Center because of the work that they've done to expose white supremacy groups that are often supporters of President Trump. I am asking you, sir, that if the IRS plays a role in these cases, I ask that you ensure that the IRS is not improperly influenced by the president or this administration during the duration of that case. And I trust that you will make sure that that does happen. Lastly, Representative Davis and I sent several letters to the IRS, and I think that Representative Davis, during his questioning of you, asked you about it. This most recent tax season was the first time that the president signed an executive order in September of last year that ceased paper refund checks from being issued. This decision to upend paper checks has led to a significant delay in refunds for those taxpayers. And I understand in your response to Mr. Davis, you said that 95% of those that receive their refunds get them electronically. Well, I represent the 5% that do not have access to electronic repayment. Those folks need paper checks and they need their refunds now. I trust that this administration will do all that it can to make sure that all Americans, irrespective of whether they're unbanked or have access to electronic payment, that they get their refunds. And Mr. Davis asked a question that you didn't answer, but I'd like to answer it for you. We're asking that you and your office, that the Treasury Department, work with us to make sure that our constituents get their refund checks.
I will commit to do that.
Thank you, sir. I yield back the balance of my time.
That was the first I've seen. And to be clear, that number 5.4% was the Atlanta Fed GDP now, but I know that's inconvenient. So,
Thanks. As announced, the committee will stand in a 5-minute brief recess.
stone by stone, I know me. One sharp corner, one cracked light, 1,000. Chase the mirror into mirrors. Every thought.
I am the charioteer of the east, Lord of the past and of the future. I see by mine own inward light, Lord of resurrection, cometh forth from the dust, and my birth is from the house of death. course, thou art still nameless to eternity. Come thou forth, I say, and aid and guard me in this work of art.
Strike the master chord, draw the flaming sword, crown, child and conquering lord, Horus, avenger, O thou of the head of the hawk, thee I invoke.
At every thee I invoke, throughout the whole of the ritual, give the sign of Apophis.
Thou only begotten child of Osiris, thy father, and Isis, thy mother, he that was slain, she that bore thee in her womb.
You understand my point. You understand my point.
But it doesn't get to the core of my argument.
Doesn't matter because I've addressed your argument and you understand my argument and my argument's better than yours. You acknowledging that right now. Either we play that we live in a naive race blind world, or we operate that we live in a race that has racial biases or preferences or attitudes. And obviously operating in my world is way better than operating in your world. Better outcomes, better methods, better fucking ideas, everything.
The world that we live in is a world much closer to the world that I just explained, where the voir dire process requires that the jurors swear under oath that they are not to impose any of their preconceived biases, perceptions, or opinions.
Yeah, but we know that they are going to anyways. But they're going to anyways, right? And so the question would be, the question should be, would you rather have a juror, regardless of who it is, be more sympathetic, or on the opposite end and not sympathetic? In a system, let me finish my statement. In a system that in which we're supposed to presume innocence. Go ahead.
Great point, Mr. Friendly. Look, if you're not saying that, then I'm gonna offer the alternative. Right? Alternative, yeah, so I'm glad you're not saying that, because that would be ridiculous, right? Because we could clearly see how they could be like blinded by the fact that one of their own has been slain. Now, the alternative is that this person is not have an antipathy towards blacks. They have actually a resonate, or they have a Thank you. Yeah, they have, I think, yeah, sympathy works. They have a sympathy or understand. I would say better understanding and understanding. And I think that is the key ingredient versus or a lack of understanding. Now, do you think that it's a problem to have people on the jury who have more understanding as opposed to less understanding?
No, of course you wanna but
No, they need understanding of the law,
blind
evidence
a blind process.
They don't need
Yep.
an understanding of the
They
person
have a
or
blind
their
process.
position or where
Another reason why you need diverse juries is because the word reasonable is a big word. It is one of the most common used words in laws and statutes.
It is pretty big.
I'm gonna illustrate my point. When I was with this anecdote, when I was a beat cop, I shared this story many times. We were walking through a neighborhood, and there were several young black teenage males loud on the basketball court, arguing with one another. He thought that a reasonable response
Here we
to
go.
that would be
So
to
we're just
go
gonna
in
have
and
people come in here.
because he
I
felt like
guarantee
a
they're
fight
gonna
was
come
about
up
to break
here
out. And I
and they're
said,
gonna both
no,
complain
that doesn't look like a
about
fight
what
at
we're
all.
doing.
Doesn't sound like a fight
guarantee
at
it.
all.
It's
So
with
not.
Are you looking
it's
at
a-
formatformafairs.com again?
Right?
Okay,
Because
I'm
his own instinct,
never
and he
cease
decides
to amaze
interrogate.
me
We
how
get
they
there,
want to
and
sit
they're
there.
not fighting at all. They're arguing
First of
LeBron
all,
and Jordan or Jordan and Kobe.
There's
Kobe
one person
LeBron.
that's in the audience that
Because
says
we're
the same
reasonable.
thing to us
When
every
when you're looking at a juror and you're talking about someone's actions, whether or not they are reasonable, culture freaking matters. It absolutely matters. And so in the example of the KKK person, yes, I am going to rule, yes, if I could put 3 KKK members on a jury with a KKK member that was on trial and to pursue justice, absolutely. Because they're gonna understand culture. They're gonna understand what is reasonable in that person's actions. And they're going to be able to educate. And they're going to be able to educate and they're going to be able to educate when deliberating
I
the
see
facts
what
of the
his
case
problem is.
because that's their job, to deliberate the facts of the case.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
And if you have someone that has no inkling of the culture or the perspective of the person and how they're responding, you can't make the determination that if what they're doing is reasonable or not. Because you don't understand. Hold on, my phone's ringing.
I know y'all heard me.
Y'all are disgusted by reality.
I know y'all heard me call next like several times already. So I'm just gonna jump in now. I called the next after concrete. I called it. I'll check it in a second. I called next after concrete. And then we went. I'm just gonna jump in right now. All right, look. So the argument that they're making is it's actually one of the worst arguments that I've heard. It's something like this. So I'm gonna give a random number. I'm gonna choose the number 100. So there's 100 people. 100 people go to the courthouse. 100 people. They need to apply. I'm gonna say some sort of. They need to be applicable. Okay. So there's a test. It's gonna be in a paper. It's gonna be in the form of the paper. This is the hypothetical. You give them a paper. You have to score at least an 80 or above in order to be applicable to be a part of the jury. Okay. All right. So 100 people show. It doesn't matter how many blacks are there, how many whites are there, how many browns are there, how many yellows are there. That part doesn't matter. Okay. In this group of 100 people, all right. One of the questions are, will you be biased? And everybody who answers yes, I'll be biased, you automatically lose 21 points. So if it's the case that every black, every brown, every yellow, any color you could think of besides white says yes, I will be biased. You guys are saying it doesn't matter that they're going to be biased. We should remove that 80 percentile necessity for being applicable. No. We want a diverse group of people that are going to be biased. Because when we brought up OJ, you know what he said? He said, so what if they're biased? I don't care that they're biased. I don't care that the woman openly said that she's biased. We want a diverse group of people. This is terrible line of reasoning.
What's terrible is that you think that people are gonna be honest about their bias. That's number one, right? That's number one. It absolutely matters. And so in the example of the KKK, because I know you're doing that. You're doing that thing where you use the racial thing, right? So the KKK involves emotions, right? And so I'm supposed to automatically hate the KKK. I'm saying in seeking justice, that makes, if that were a category to make the jury more diverse and it's in favor of the defendant, yes. I'm good with that. I'm good with that. Because in our system, and where our system fails, and I've said this many times, I'm not giving speeches on this. Where our system fails is that it is a revenge system. It's not a system of justice. We're not seeking to practice the system the way it's designed. We're seeking to practice. We are seeking to practice the system. We are seeking to practice the system. We are seeking to practice the system a way in which we are seeking to practice the system a way in which we can be punitive so that we believe is guilty. And that's not how the system was going to do.
Define justice, Philly. Define justice, Philly.
Because you did the hypothetical was that if it's gone through some filtering process, and which just to be clear, the defense is participating in, and the result is just a juror, 12 people, a jury, sorry, of 12 people that you believe isn't like representative or the defendant, right? Do you think that you can basically just import 3 people that you think will be sympathetic to that fucking I gave you an extreme example to the defendant. I give you an extreme example. What if the defendant stands accused of being part of some proscribed group, namely the KKK or something, and he's like a racist, hate criminal? I'm supposed to throw my just principles out of the window because it's a group that hates me. That's not how that's supposed to work. And I don't operate that way. Listen to what I prefer diversity. Can you fucking listen? Wait, stop, Florida. Can I just finish my point? Just 1 second. Florida, 1 second. Just all right. I may have said that too. Just let me finish what I was saying, right? Which is, okay, cool, but like, just listen. The point I'm making, right, is that like, if we would all agree, a good thing not to do is it. We've got these systems in place, and it's just 12 people to be the jury. It would be fucking insane to say like, oh, let me help exonerate the KKK guy by bringing people who are sympathetic to the KKK guy. Like so you shouldn't be biting this as bullet. Like that's actually ridiculous. Because obviously we don't want that. We don't want KKK guys getting off because of an obstinate juror who's just a racist. Like as in his sole purpose for being there is because he's sympathetic to racists. Like obviously that's dumb, right? You're making an extreme. Y'all are going with an extreme. You're going with an extreme example. Y'all are going with these extreme examples, and I played along, right? Because the extreme examples are just stupid. Because a diverse jury is not extreme. That's not extreme. Black people don't go on juries automatically thinking. Black people don't go on. I literally illustrated why I want diverse juries. Black people don't go. Black people and people of color don't. Black people don't. I illustrated it earlier. You didn't listen to what I said, but I illustrated it earlier, right? I did. Y'all are going to these extreme examples, right? And I played along because I am still going to lean in the direction. I am still going to lean in the direction of a juror that is sympathetic versus one that is not. Because the presumption is in no sense. You must prove beyond a reasonable doubt. And if in your head you already lean, well, this person, whether it be male or black or whatever, they have a predisposition toward violence. They have a predisposition toward violence and crime because that is my worldview. I would rather someone be in the jury in the opposite direction because it is much easier. That makes no sense. It is much easier. If I can land my point, because it is much easier to convince someone that is sympathetic that using the facts that they are guilty than it is to convince someone that is on the opposite end that assumes guilt that they're innocent.
All
saying is I don't want someone that's biased against you. I want someone that's biased towards you. That's all you're saying. That's it. You say I want this type of bias. I don't like biases, but I like this type of bias. This is the type of bias that I want.
Wait, knowledge. Let me add one thing to that, because I know what Finley's response is going to be. It's going to be, yeah, that's a good thing, because in this legal system is predicated upon innocence and proven guilty. The problem is if we apply that, if we extrapolate that to another case where it's innocent until proven guilty, we have good reason to believe that someone is a KKK member, and his argument is, well, look, by the same token, we need to bring people who are sympathetic to my ideology so that they'll be like far more fair and biased in favor of me because I'm innocent until proven guilty. You would think that was fucking ridiculous. So the point is, the way this bias is determined is essentially just like, if we think the black kid is innocent, then we want to stack the jury with black people because we think they're going to be biased in favor of the black.
I didn't say stack the jury with black people. I'm arguing for diversity. That's not what I'm saying. That's what you're saying. Because that's what y'all are saying. No, that's what I am arguing for diversity. What y'all are trying to do is create this extreme situation.
Can't make any kind of there's no way that people can make a case.
Y'all are trying to argue. Y'all are trying to use this emotional pleading. Y'all are trying to use this extreme. Y'all are trying to use this extreme emotional pleading.
You the most, bro. You're loud. So stop repeating yourself.
I'm only repeating myself because every time. I didn't know that y'all hear me. He's upset. Because the people that chose on the Kitover, the Carmelian Anthony case are white people. He's upset because people are white. He wants some people that are not white on the case because if they're all white, then guess what? They cannot be fair. If there's only white people, the case won't be fair. I want a black that agrees with me. I want an Asian that agrees with me. You know, I want a Mexican that agrees with me. I want anybody that's not white. Anybody who agrees with me. I don't agree in having a bias people on a jury, but I want a specific that has people on the jury. That's his entire fucking argument.
Hello?
Fucking insane.
Hello, your life is on the line.
Having a bias group.
You want a manipulator on the jury.
The entire fucking argument that he's making.
On the jury. Yes or no?
Controversial.
Yes or no? Your life is on the line.
Crazy contradictory.
Your life is on the line. You didn't do it.
Disagree.
You're innocent. Thank you for helping
Whoever did it.
Thank you for illustrating the point. Now.
Yeah, whoever, it's not gonna stop.
Oh, yeah.
Don't turn it on, we won't stop. Don't turn it on, we won't stop.
Tell me that you want this petty ass, ridiculous, fucking, a nigga like this, always walking around bad. You know that, right, Hillary? Beat his not pretending to exactly revenge on society? What's your last guys? We can feel that fucking dopamine hit. Oh no, you're in trouble, boy. You're in trouble.
He's done.
Yeah, you were interrupting.
Crowded. Okay, good. He was playing victim. Empathy. Look at the film playing victim.
Oh shit.
That nigga was over talking. This nigga was crashing out. Get challenged.
Yo, you know what this nigga did one day, Empathy? He tried to make fucking Louis go through a humiliation ritual in front of everybody, bro. That shit was so cringe and so weird. Yo, I was like, no, what in the fucking weird ass fucking Diddy shit is this? He was like, no, you apologize, but you need to apologize more. You need to apologize in front of everybody. What kind of weird ass, that's what you're dealing with right now, Empathy. That's your side right now. A nigga that hates niggas and want niggas to bow down to them. How many more of the fucking knowledges are out there walking around? He thought he was cool. Look, and this is somebody who you think would be even more cool than the average. Why in the world are we getting this type of KKK vibe from a nigga that you think will be more normal? Somebody gotta make that make sense. That's a new level of exploration. We can do with it what he's done.
What thought?
Damn, you got that. Now he gonna play victim. Yeah, I knew it. You know? You know why he don't want to do it? You know why he don't want to do it? He don't need to do that shit, bro. Only when they stand up to the fucking aggressor, they get more mad. They get more upset. You was a smarty ass nigga. Simple was innocent. You think this nigga would like you, the smarty ass nigga? Tell him that he was like, man, is he what he was? You think he wants to see a smarty ass nigga? Fucking that's what he gonna say. I'm right. What the smarty ass nigga is? See how you trying to fucking trick me with word magic. Fuck you, I'm right. That's what this nigga gonna do. You ain't slick, bitch ass nigga.
Okay. All artists.
Empathy respond before this fucking weird ass nigga get off.
Empathy left already. Yeah, all artists are technicians. Not all technicians are artists. We think about that. Yeah, so what was Philly's position? Was it that bias should never exist in the jury selection process? Or bias is okay?
No, you keep using the word bias, and the bias is not the proper word. The proper word would be understanding.
Didn't you say sympathy?
Sympathy is a little bit also like not. I hear what you're saying, She-Wolf, but I don't think it's proper either. Understanding, because the thing you got to think about it like this from this mindset. You know how a black person is, right? There's some black people who are very distrusting of blacks, but they can be won over, right? Then there's somebody who's distrusting of blacks that can't be won over. Now the question is, what would I don't know, but the question is, what would allow somebody to be won over when they were initially distrustful? Obviously, it would be something that they can resonate with. And what can a lot of black people resonate with? Other black people and their plights. That's why you can't. I asked this question in another room. What is the purpose of a jury of your peers, and why is that a part of the system, right? And is Mr. Finley here? Mr. Finley's here.
Well, I think the understanding of like what the justice system is, as far as it being of like your civil duty in the larger community sense of what is right by beyond a reasonable doubt or the preponderance of evidence, right? Like that's what that's supposed to mean, like your peers of clear.
Well, you're speculating at this point, right? And so
that's what it actually says.
Okay, so you're speculating at this point, unless you're gonna give us the document that the founding fathers provided and their reasons for providing it, right? That's what I'm looking for. The actual discussion on the legal theory of jury of your peers, right? That's what I'm talking about.
All right, so I'll snatch that up, but are you saying
you gotta do the work before you make the claims.
Well, all right, so what I just described, I wanted to make sure that
That's your
you don't
intuition.
believe that.
That's your intuition, or did you study it?
All right, I'm just saying, do you share
No, just answer it. Okay, so is your intuition is not something that you studied, right?
I don't know what that is. I'm asking if you share the
All right, bro, come on, bro. You can't avoid whether or not something was studied or something was believed.
Yeah, I think you're making it about that, but I'm just trying
I'm gonna definitely make it about that. But why do you think I'm making it about that?
Because I'm asking if you agree with
No, why do you think I'm making it about that?
Because you're saying that it's not relevant if you agree with me, I guess?
No, you're trying to move to something else, and that's fine. You can always try to move to something else. Right?
No, you got a question about
what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna yes.
Right.
Why is this a part of it?
Yeah, then I offer like what the colloquial understanding is of like
The common sense understanding.
Right. And then
Why would that be the situation?
Because that's the definition that we're operating on.
No, we're not operating on the common sense understanding. Why would we operate under that?
So that we're all on the same page, bro?
Why would you say that? Why would you say that?
Okay. No, I'm asking you, do you share this? If you don't, then I can go get the
Alright, so what did I say? What do I want to accomplish? Alright, I know what you want to accomplish. Look. I know what you want to accomplish in this, right? What do I want to accomplish?
To see, for me to prove if I'm right or wrong, if this
No.
definition?
What I want to accomplish is what is the legal theory on jury of your peers, and why was it established, and how is it implemented, right?
Alright,
so what is the legal theory on jury?
Alright, then you're saying that what I just described there could be right. You just want to know like what was the argument?
I don't care about any of that stuff. I don't care about anything about opinion. I don't care. I don't care about opinion. I care about what the legal theory is, why it was established, and what's the conversation in the legal system. I care about the conversation in the legal system on jury of the peers. Why was it established? How was it implemented? That's what I'm talking about.
Do you think that that's what's being talked about now with Finley?
I don't care.
All right, yeah. Do you think that? Why? How about peers? Like, what do you think peers means?
I don't care about
racial.
I don't care about common.
No,
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care about what my opinion is because my opinion could be wrong. I care about how it's dealt with. You understand that they have their own language and their own definitions. There's this thing called the Black's Law Dictionary, where their usage of words are going to be different. In fact, when you go to some dictionaries, they'll tell you the different domains in which how a word is defined. They'll say in the scientific sense, here's how it's defined. In the legal sense, on and on and on, right? So that's the mistake, Samoa. Going on our own common sense understanding would be a dire mistake. Yes, you could be right, but you also could be wrong. So why don't we just get past that part and get to what they're saying in the domain of science of law, right? That's what I'm doing. But you're still a moment. You're good, but
no. So I want to do the research for you. So it says the Magna Carta 1215 is where this theory came up about being judged by your peers equally by the justice or by the objectivity of societal standards. So this comes from the Magna Carta. This is like what it says here, right? So the question is like, what is peers now, right?
And so we have to say how are they talking about it in the legal sense, not about how we have a conversation about it, but what are Supreme Court and court cases? How are they discussing it? Right? Because that's the only things that are going to matter. How are they discussing it in court cases?
Yeah, so peers would mean citizens, people in your community, not people from like another community or whatever that is. Even like in the federal component, right? Like obviously these people don't live near you or anything like that. So, but yeah, like that's where it's kind of rooted from, and it's like in the spirit of like fairness, where people have a commonality of
of like understanding.
There you go. Understanding. There's that word. There you go. We're good.
Wait, hold on. But there's a difference between like understanding like what the law is and like how you should go about and like the operations um like the jury whole like thing, right? And looking at evidence and not allowing your personal biases to like intrude on that. And then there's the understanding of the person that's the defendant and what they're going through, and that's something that a juror should never do.
Is that what you believe?
Absolutely. Cool. That's why there's like jury instructions to say, hey, ignore everything that you've seen online. Ignore this person's history. This person's history is prejudicial, whatever, right? So the judge is already taking things off of the table for consideration for the jury immediately, because it could like basically just poison like the views of those people because they're trying to get it as unbiased as possible. So if Finley walks in there and says, he looks like Trayvon Martin to me, somebody's going to be like, oh, you just bridged something that should be like avoided of this situation here, and now you're going to bring this into the conversation. And we can't have that. You have to look at the evidence in isolation, not in collaboration. Hey, but what am I doing?
That's a fact, Monica. It's a fact.
No, but I didn't get Finley's point because I heard what you were saying, Knowledge, and what Timothy was saying from across the room.
But someone kept yelling, so they left.
Yeah, but what was Finley's point, though, if you don't mind?
You want to hear what he said about the OJ case?
No, I missed that. I heard your response, and I heard Timothy's response, but I didn't. Finley was saying, that's not what I'm saying, that's not what I'm saying, that's not what I'm saying. You guys are trying to make it emotional, or you guys are trying to do the emotional appeal thing to attachment to something like that.
Finley said the juror is supposed to prove their innocence. He wants a juror that's going to prove their innocence. He doesn't want to live in a society where they try to prove they're guilty.
No, presume.
So when it came
presume.
when it came to the trial of OJ, we said, the juror said that they were biased as fuck, right? And he said, yes, that's what I want. I'm okay with that. He said, I'm okay with juror representing someone who looks like them and with them being biased towards them. I'm okay with that. And then the argument was, that's fucking retarded. You don't want people who are, let's say, that's why the KKK member brought up. Let's say there's a KKK member that's going to be put to trial. And all the members that were selected for the juror are all KKK members. You okay with that? He said, yeah. He bit the bullet. He said, yeah.
Well, like, if it's, like, presumed to be innocent, then that means that you have to work your way, this is, like, beyond a reasonable doubt, to where you're overly convincing that he's not, but you're starting at, like, let's say, a -1. Or, like, let's say a +1. Now you got to work me back.
Correct.
But then he said that he's okay with the whole jury pool being KKK members.
Correct.
KKK guys on the defense.
Yeah.
Yeah, to me that doesn't. To me, it's kind of like, hey man, hey, do you live in Appalachia? Yes. All right, let's strike this guy. Yeah. What's up, man? Oh.
What's up, man? What's up? Hi. Hi, what's up? Yo, Ishmael, good question. Yeah. What's the question, man? Has anybody ever told you you have a voice for someone that will slap the dog shit out of you? What do you mean by that? Oh, like, just your voice makes you want to slap the dog shit out of you.
Oh, that.
Have you ever heard that?
What do you mean
Oh, man, suck my dick, man.
Whoa.
That was a good response. The motherfucking man. I haven't response.
Bro, why would you go like below the belt like that, bro?
Yeah, I think it went too far. I was just asking you a question. Motherfucking boy. I was just asking you a question. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. What are you doing? It sounds like he wants to get shut the fuck up, man. Slap the shit out of him. Respectful, some fucking foolishness, man. I was just too respectful when I just come into school. I'm trying to be respectful too. I was asking you a question. That's not true, my man. That's not true, man. I've always respected nature, man. This is all right. You have to respect the world. No, I was just asking you a question.
Yeah, look, man, like, we were kind of talking about this Carmelo Anthony thing yesterday, right? And I think that if you're going to be looking at this case through, like, the racial lens, you're going to be able to find some things, you know, and, it's like, when can things be...
I was moved down for no reason, bro. That shit crazy. Shit crazy.
The reason, it's just either a good or a not good reason.
No, for no reason, bro. It was just random.
No, there wasn't.
No, it was random, bro. It's like something coming from nothing. Like your belief system.
How about this one? How about when God says, do these things or I won't bless you or answer your prayers? In that scenario, can a woman say no?
I just want to say it. Nathan's on stage. Nathan's going to be on stage. Just want to call it out.
I'm going. Man, oh.
Oh, shit. Bro. Hey, Nate.
He left.
Yeah, he left. Yeah, he's left.
Yo, he shot her and moved himself down.
That's crazy, bro.
Oh, he is in Magoo, Samoa. I thought he left. He's in Magoo.
I don't know. He moved the cake down and then moved himself down.
What's up, Samoa?
Do you think, like, the narrative right now that the prosecution struck the last three that was on, you think that, do you think that is your intuition that there is something wrong here?
I think that they eliminate black jurors to eliminate any chance that there could be someone who will be, as Finley and Concrete was saying, for lack of a better term, but this is what Finley said, sympathetic towards the defendant. And there was some pushback as if sympathy would be wrong or something, similar to that nature. And Mr. Finley made the great point that sympathy would not be bad in the instance where in our system